So today I'm going to make a video about changing out the rear coil springs on this 67 GTO. I bought the car and there's only a couple things that really needed to be done, but one of the things I noticed right off the bat, I took my brother and my nephew for a ride. There was 4 of us in the car, and it started bumping. Like every time we hit a bump, you could feel something hitting on the back of the car. So when I came home, I looked up under the car and I noticed that there was spacers probably 2 or 3 inches thick underneath the springs. And I didn't really know how these cars were made, so I posted on the Facebook group and asked a question about what is this, and they said, well, those are just spacers to make your car set up higher in the back because your springs are worn out, because the car doesn't set high in the back at all. It sets like, I'm going to say, a normal ride height for this car. So there's only like this much space between the springs. So I'm thinking with the extra weight in the back of the car, it was just crushing it down to nothing. And when you run over bumps, the springs were collapsing on each other. So anyway, I went ahead and bought the springs. I bought the springs, the stock ride height springs from UMI. And they're UMI 4049R. I bought them from eBay. They're not that expensive, less than $200 for a set of new springs, and these are supposed to put the car to stock ride height. So I'm going to take some before measurements on the car, and we're going to see how close it is to stock ride height right now. I think it's pretty close, but I'll take some measurements before and after. So with the car sitting on the ground, I'm at about 24 3/8 to the bottom of the trim from the ground. And we'll see what it comes up with after we put the new springs. Okay, so now I've got the car jacked up and it's on jack stands. I have some of these really big jack stands. And you want to make sure anytime you're under a car that you're really supported sturdily. And you can see how I've got it there. I've got the jack stands on the frame in front of the wheels. So I'm going to be disconnecting the lower shocks. And when I lower the axle down with the jack, the spring should come down with it. Okay, so I wanted to show a little bit of what I got going on here now. Like I said, it's about at least 3-inch block, round block underneath the spring. So hopefully when I remove that and put the new springs in, it'll put me at a good ride height. So in order to do that, I need to take these nuts loose on the bottom shock mounts while I have a jack underneath it. Okay, now I wanted to show, I took the bottom of the shock loose from the mount. I've got a jack underneath the rear end, and now I'm just going to lower it down slowly and it should allow the springs to come out of the upper perch where they're sitting at. Okay, so the spring didn't totally fall out, and the reason being is this big spacer that they've got in there. This thing's maybe 3 or 4 inches that they had in there, and they had the normal spring mount on top of it. You can see these springs laying side by side. This one sits a good 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter, and I'm thinking it's actually way worse than that. With the amount of, I think it's the springs have just lost all their tension. But anyway, so it did come out easy. The only thing I had to do was take the bolt loose that was holding this on, and then it just fell out basically. I'll be reusing this rubber. I didn't get new ones. That goes in the top, sits up in the car. Assuming it fits, I'll reuse it. Okay, so I just bolted the new spring in the correct way that it should have been from the factory. And now I'm just jacking up the rear end until I can get up to the shock mounts. And it's just that easy. I did have to pull the top of the spring back to make it align with the spot where it's supposed to land at the top. But it was something I just did by hand. I didn't need a pry bar or anything. All right, so I got the springs installed in the car. Everything's back to where it should be. This is a very quick job. It only took me less than an hour. Okay, so after installing the new springs, it actually sits lower than it did to start with. About 24 inches, slightly less. So, definitely not my preference on ride height. I don't know if they've got anything done to the front of the car. I don't think so. But I'm probably going to leave it alone. I'm probably going to buy some springs to make it slightly lower in the front. I don't think it's a bad ride height, but I kind of like the cars to sit a little bit slightly higher in the back. You see my Impala, the way it's sitting, got a really good stance to it. I just wanted to give one more quick look at the car after I've lowered it to the ground. It does not look bad for sure. And I think if you look at some of the original pictures from when these cars came out, they sat a little lower in the back than they do in the front. But anyway, that's what we got. I'll have to test drive it tomorrow. It's late in the night. I don't want to be making a bunch of noise, wake up the whole family and everybody in the neighborhood. But anyway, that's what we got on it. That's the ride height. I just wanted to give one more quick look at the car after I've lowered it to the ground. It does not look bad for sure. And I think if you look at some of the original pictures from when these cars came out, they sat a little lower in the back. And I'll be making some more videos, so please like and subscribe.